Hey y'all, this is Halisi.
And this is Rick from our Black Utopia.
Well, on this channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth. So I think y'all know who we're going to talk about today and talk to today because I forgot to take him off screen. But Rick, why don't you go ahead and introduce our special guest?
This is Mr. Cartess Ross. Cartess moved the second to, are you piecing?
Oh,
Oh, okay, I didn't know if I meant. Cartess moved his family from the United States to Mexico.
Yep, that's right. So if you are new to our channel, Rick and I, about 6 years ago, we got a wake up call with our finances and we realized we were close to hitting retirement age and our stuff looked janky. Was it jacked up?
It was jacked up.
Our finances were jacked up, but we changed the way we do things. And in 3 years, we changed our situation from negative 22,000 in net worth all the way up to 800,000. And so if that sounds good to you, stick around because we talk about that and a lot more. And so without further ado, we're going
Cartess is going to tell us how to move abroad
and thrive. That's right.
Yes.
So welcome to our Black Utopia, Cartess of Move Abroad and Thrive.
Thank you. So excited to be here. And, I've been following you all's journey and, from that negative 22,000 to a plus 800,000, man, I need to know the secrets.
I think you know the secrets. I think you got the secret sauce, and we're going to share that with folks. So if you have questions or anything like that, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Let us know where you're logging in from. We see folks are logging in now. But while we do that, Cartess, tell us about all of the places that you and your family have lived outside of the United States.
Okay, so our initial place that we went to visit was Montreal, Canada.
Oh.
We actually drove there. And the plan was to stick around for 3 or 6 months. Got there on a Monday. No, we got there on a Sunday night. And, walked around, hung around for a few days. And by Friday, I was like, man, I hate it here. So
wow.
Thursday, I walked to the house and said, look, we leaving in the morning, pack y'all stuff. And so,
okay.
And they was like, we supposed to be here for 3 to 6 months. And I was like, yeah, well, I ain't feeling it. Folks are kind of rude and snobby and act like they don't want to be bothered. I ain't spending a dime more of this money to be up in here. And so got up that following morning and left. And then from there, traveled around the U.S. for a little bit. And then we went back to Georgia to my parents' house because at that point we didn't have a house no more. Sold everything and I got rid of everything. And so then we went to Colombia, South America, and stayed there for about 7 months and then returned back to the States, just kind of give you an abbreviated version. And then earlier last year, decided, okay, I think ready for a permanent move. Going to go back to Colombia. I think that's where I want to set foundation and set roots there. So got there during the pandemic. Everything was shut down. Ended up leaving because of riots and unrest in Colombia. So I said, well, I'll come back and find a place when things calm down. And as a result of that, a friend of mine was like, you need to come check out Mexico. So I hopped on the plane that Sunday night, flew to Mexico, and I was like, this is home. I don't need to see anything else. So those are the two we've been to so far.
Well, Cartess, a lot of times, because when we talked about Mexico and different things, the first thing you hear about, well, what about the cartels? Exactly. What about this? What about the crime in Mexico? What's your take on that?
Well, crime exists everywhere. And typically the thing that happens, the people who get caught up in that type of stuff are people who are doing stuff they shouldn't be doing anyway.
Right.
If you start messing around with drugs or trying to sell drugs or buy drugs or, do illicit or illegal things, you find yourself in trouble. This particular region, the Yucatan, where we're at, is one of the city of Merida is the second safest city in North America. So that's North
right.
America consists of Mexico, United States, and Canada.
Right.
I think the number one place that's the most safest city is in Quebec City in Canada.
Okay.
So I mean, I feel so at peace, so at ease, and Mexico is big. So yeah, the cartel may be a problem in some parts of the country. Just like the United States, they have their pockets where crime is extreme.
Right.
You'll listen to the
Hello.
news and folks be like, "Oh man, stay out of Chicago or stay out of D.C., the nation's capital. Crime there is ridiculous." And so just like the United States, you can have pockets of areas where the crime is worse. And
Right.
same thing in Mexico. There are places where it's just bad. And you just know not to go. And you have places like Merida where you can walk the streets at 3 a.m. in the morning and nobody gonna bother you.
I love it. I love it. We're going to take a second and say hello to all of the folks who are in the chat because we see some friends and everybody else. And then I want to go back to Canada because oftentimes folks think that they have to be 100% certain before they make a move.
Yeah.
And so what happens when you get to a place and you don't like it, right?
Yeah.
But we've got Chandra logging in from Maryland. Hey there.
I saw Ron. Hey, Ron. Hey, Troop. How you doing?
Deborah S. is saying hello. Auntie Trey, good afternoon from the ATL. Yep, we in the house.
In the house.
That's right. And Deborah's from Atlanta as well. Oh, thank you, Auntie. Auntie Trey, we love you too. And we've got Tracy and Nika logging in from Indianapolis. And Marguerite. Let me know. I hope I'm not mispronouncing. I think it's Marguerite as well. Let us know where you're logging in from. Hello, want to retire in Portugal. We are in Portugal.
We are in Portugal.
And the wind, it's hot. Okay. It's like 90 degrees today. So the window is open. We do not have air condition. And so if you hear cars driving by,
that's why. You might even hear people walking by.
Yes.
But Portugal is very beautiful. It's a beautiful place, and we've been having a very, very good time while being here.
Yes.
We've run across a lot of us.
A lot of us.
Actually, yesterday was the first time in how many years we didn't get home till like in the bed until 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they
were talking about watching the sun come up like, yeah. Oh, you'll get back by 9 a.m. Yeah. And these people over 50 saying this.
Yeah.
Oh, they turning up in Portugal.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a holiday. They're celebrating a holiday. And I asked one of the guys I was talking to, I said, so how long is this holiday? He said, for the month. I was like, oh my God, really? Y'all be partying every night.
So we've already made friends. And one of the friends, she's like, you got to come over. They're having a parade and everything. I was like, today? And she's like, no, tonight at 9. I said, well, we go live. We go live at 8:30 Portugal time. So we won't be able to. Oh, no problem. Because it ain't going to get started till 9:30 and won't end till 4 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's Portugal.
That's Portugal. Hey, Ron. Nice to see you. And we've got, where is Professor LCH in the house? Definitely. Oh, yes. Hit that like button. Thank you, Professor LCH. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So let's get back to Canada. So where in Canada did you go? And you said they were snobby. Canada's not cheap either. And yes. I think that's a misconception. Like Canadians are moving just like we moving, right?
Exactly.
But that's the first place Americans usually think. That's the first place I thought of when I was a kid. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm moving to Canada, to the French side, so I can speak French, right? So where did you guys go?
So we actually went to Quebec. I'm sorry. Yeah, the province of Quebec, and stayed in Montreal, where they speak French. So we did, like you said, Canada's expensive. However, the Quebec province is the cheapest of all the provinces in Canada. So that's why we chose Quebec, because I was like, okay, the math was better there. Right. And it was cheaper in parts of Montreal than staying in the States. So, for example, we found some beautiful condo apartments, fully furnished, utilities included. Back then, was running about $500 a month. And I was like, okay, we can get this in Montreal. If it works out, we'll just stay. But in that particular, so all of the Canada speak English, with the exception of the Quebec province. They speak French. So that's why we chose that part as well, because it was like, well, we can kind of get our feet wet, go somewhere else where the foreign language is spoken, and and not be around English speaking, just like we are in the States.
Right.
So most of the people there speak French, and
Parlez-vous français?
I forgot it all already. I was only there 5 days and we was out, so I learned too much. But
and you didn't know any before you went.
I didn't know any before I went.
Okay, guys, he and his family did not know any French before they went. Okay, so don't think that you've got to have it all together, know the language and everything else, right? All right.
Absolutely. So there were rumors out there that basically said that if you don't speak the language, if you don't speak French, people kind of be snobbish and look down on you. And so I kind of felt that. I initially tried to say the basic words in French, like hello and bye, thank you, and I made an effort, but that didn't seem to help. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm out of here. I don't like it. I'm not going to waste my money. I'd rather use this money somewhere else.
Right.
So that was my thinking. Worst case scenario, if things don't work out, I can go back home or go somewhere else.
Right.
So that's what we did, went somewhere else.
Great. And then you went to Colombia, and then what city in Colombia?
Medellin.
Okay,
Medellin, Colombia. Some people pronounce it Medellin. The double L's make the Y sound, but particularly in Medellin, the double L's make a J sound.
Yes.
So a lot of people, you saying it wrong. I said, well, in Medellin, that's how they say it. The locals have corrected us. I'm gonna go with the locals say, but anyhow.
And maybe Argentinians pronounce it that way too, because they got a weird accent in Argentina.
Really?
Oh yeah. So Medellin is on our list as one of the best places to retire, but at the time they were having some unrest because of the shutdown, lack of jobs and stuff like that. It was an economic thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So Medellin, the reason, so I fell in love with Colombia because of Medellin. But when I went back last year to go find a place, I consciously made the decision not to go look for a place to live permanently in Medellin, because when I was there, the traffic was horrendous. I'm talking about worse than Atlanta traffic, worse than LA traffic. And I was like, I don't want to be dealing with traffic like that. And more and more expats are coming in and the prices were going up. So I thought,
what I heard.
Reason that I will explore other cities, and then my thought process was that it'd be cheaper there and less traffic, less pollution. I can get more for my money. So I found a bunch of other cities. I stayed in those cities while there last year and narrowed it down to two places, one called Ibagué or Ibagué, and the other place was Manizales. So, I mean, you can get 3-bedroom condos, fully furnished, includes utilities, internet, a gym on the property, swimming pool on the property, looking at $376 a month. So the further out you go from Medellin.
So are these like suburbs of Medellin or really separate cities?
Really separate cities with their own. These particular cities had their own airport. So by car, it might take 10 to 12 hours to get to these places because of the mountains and whatnot.
Right.
But plane rides once you get situated there. I always made the comparison. You don't necessarily have to live in Medellin. You can live, for the most part, in some of the more larger cities in Colombia, but you can fly to Medellin round trip on the weekend for like $30, $45, $50.
See?
Yeah. Hang out and do whatever you want. Fly to the beach and hang out on the beach for the weekend and then come back home.
That's what I'm talking about. So my tutor lived in Bogota. Or she lives in Bogota. Yeah, one of them. And she likes Medellin, but she prefers Bogota.
So. The big city, yes.
Definitely. So we're going to get to Merida, but let's see, Lagos. We've got someone who is considering retiring to Portugal from Tennessee.
Wow.
Now that's a move.
Yes.
That's a move because Tennessee, first of all, it's very green, very beautiful. And it's very green here, unlike Colorado, which is dry, desert, right? But as far as, and this is my own ignorance because I've only been there twice. You know, one thing about Denver, you guys hear that? Sorry. One thing about Denver and Los Angeles and Atlanta, they're cosmopolitan. Lisbon and Porto, very cosmopolitan. I can't even tell you how many languages we've heard spoken, which is nice because I don't hear anything because I don't understand anything. So it's all Greek to me. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I'm not into everybody's conversations anymore. But Tennessee doesn't seem as cosmopolitan as some, now maybe Nashville these days.
Yeah.
Maybe these days. But so yeah, definitely. And thank you. She's going to book a session with us. Thank you. Yes, definitely. So I'll go ahead and we do offer consultations, and we also have the Ready to Retire toolkit. So if you know that your stuff ain't right, get the Ready to Retire toolkit, and that will get you started. We send you some emails to kind of walk you through it. It's all good. So then you move to Medellin, and you got a question.
Oh.
Or Merida.
Merida. I heard it is great. There's a lot of us down there, but it's hot. I don't mind heat. She doesn't do the heat. The heat doesn't bother me.
Okay, because I'm having heat flashes right now. Maybe when I get past this, ladies, if you have gotten past this, let me know. But heat flashes and 100 degrees ain't happening.
Wow. It does get hot. There's no denying that. But the benefits outweigh the hotness. It's hot as hell. That's what people say. Literally, it's like you're living on the sun.
So how hot is it today?
Today it's not too bad. Let me see. It is as of right now 96 degrees, okay. Which is a good day.
It's 90 here.
Yeah.
So
no, it's 93.
It's 93.
It's
so
93
there you go.
here.
Yeah. But it's rainy season. We started rainy season, so it's kind of cooler. So
it'll cool it down.
It normally might be a day like 105, 107, combined with some humidity where it might feel like 115 or 120 degrees.
Oh.
But for me, it's like if you lived in Atlanta, you can deal with the weather. It's not like when I lived in Atlanta, we weren't walking the streets at 2:00 in the afternoon. We would literally walk out the house, get in our car, go to where we go, and then from the parking lot to the building that had AC, we were fine. And so that's the same thing we do here. The longest we might be outside is just waiting a few minutes for Uber, and then we're off to wherever we're going. So, then we just kind of switch up our routine. We do a lot of things in the morning and a lot of things at night. They don't even really get started to around 8:00 at night out here, restaurants and entertainment, and they'll go to 2, 3 in the morning, just taking advantage of the cooler weather at night.
Yeah. I have seen videos of like nighttime in Merida, like is on and popping.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So I have to say hello to one of my moms. Hey, Janice. Yay. Good to see you. We are in Almada, Portugal, which is considered South Bay Lisbon. So we're across the river. And so at the end of the street, when we look across the river, we see the big yellow square, the blue building that you guys see in every single picture. Which is like the Comercio something or other. I'm drawing a blank right now.
And it's a 10-minute ferry ride. And to catch the ferry and buses and all that is real cheap. It's not expensive at all. So, $40 a month, you get a pass.
Yeah, $40 a month, you get a pass. And that's for the ferry, for the subway, for the buses, above ground train, as well as the trams, yeah, as well as the bus and the trolleys and those San Francisco looking trolleys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite a steal. How's the public, speaking of which, how's the public transportation there in Merida? And do you need a car?
So the first 3 months that we were here, we did not have a car at all. And we got around and did everything we needed to do. Everybody getting in their own separate Ubers to go to their destination. I might be going to the mall. One of them might be going to the doctor's office. And just to give it a range of, our average Uber bill is about $240 a month. And that's with us going wherever we wanted. I ended up renting a car for 10 days after 3 months. And that turned into, after I got the car, I got so comfortable and it was so much more convenient. It ended up turning into me renting that car for like 3 or 4 months. So you don't need one. The downside is if you do get one, it's kind of hard to live without it because you can
It's so convenient.
It's convenient. It's convenient. Now we have it. So I turned that car in 3 months later, so we've been without a car now for about 4 or 5 months. And the benefit of that is, one, because the car was costing me about $630 a month, more than
more than your rent?
More than my rent. Like that don't make sense. I'm trying to cut my costs and get saving. Let me get rid of the car versus $240 a month for transportation. So the $630 didn't, another $300 for gas. So you're looking at about $1,000 a month to have that car. Now I could buy some cheaper cars, but I wanted to it had to be a permanent resident or a temporary resident, to have cars and tags and all of that. But short answer is I don't think you need a car. The vast majority of expats here overwhelmingly do not have cars. And they get by just fine.
Yeah.
They have buses. Buses will take you anywhere you want for about 40 cents US. And you can get from wherever you want to go. I've lost about 30 pounds since being here. And I attribute that to not having a car.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got that car, my blood sugar started going back up. My weight started going back up. So this time when I got rid of the car, I was like, you know what? I'm trying to be around for 10, 15 years. If walking make that happen, they can have it in a car. So,
right.
And
that's the thing that we found here as well, right?
Yeah, because we've been walking everywhere.
Exactly.
And we don't mind it. We want to be somewhere walkable. We don't really want to have a car. We don't want the car payment. We don't want the insurance costs and all that stuff. So we really, really want walkable areas, which there are a lot of walkable areas here. Plus the thing about Portugal is it has a lot of places you go, it still has that old European feel.
Yes.
One thing, they do have hills. And when it gets wet, they get a little slippery because they're cobblestone.
Wow. Even in the newer areas, Cartess, they make the sidewalks with cobblestone.
Really?
Yeah, and it is slippery. So I was like, what is this rail for on this sidewalk? And then my feet started going like this. I was like, that's what the handrail is for. So yes, and then there are in Lagos, which is down south in the Algarve. I'm sorry about the dogs, guys, but there's a dog across the way. And then anytime dogs walk by, it becomes this dog barking fest. But anyway, yes. So the Algarve is one of the major places where expats are going, which is why we won't go there.
Wow. Okay.
Because the prices have gone up. It's so bad there now that they have removed it from the list for the golden visa. So the Algarve, Lisbon proper, and Porto proper are no longer available for folks who are trying to get here on the golden visa, which is a $500,000 investment. So yeah, but it is beautiful down there. So we will definitely be vacationing and everything else down there. And we will definitely get to your Portugal questions because I know a lot of you guys are like, Portugal. And if you don't know, we will be in Cartess's country in the next month. Gosh, time is going fast.
It is. It's flying.
Because we are also getting residency in Mexico.
Sweet.
We like to have choices, and plus we have aging parents, and I need to have a place that's close to the United States without it being the United States.
Yeah.
I have no desire to go back.
None.
Yeah, and we're finding that out a lot from
Right.
a lot of people. They have no desire to return to the United States other than to visit family, get in, get out.
Yep.
Exactly.
So let's talk about housing, because that's when we talk about how to move abroad and thrive. There are three major things that I think of, right? Housing, transportation, and food. Because you got to get to your doctor's appointments, you got to have a place to live, and you got to be able to eat. And we know the average person Social Security check is about $1,500 a month. Where in the ATL can you live on $1,500 a month, Mr. Cartess Ross?
Absolutely nowhere. If you want to be safe.
The key word, right? So you can be, probably that's even worse than the hood for $1,500, right? Like we're talking about sketch with homeless folks and maybe some crack houses and everything else, not just low income and stuff. Yeah. It's just impossible. And when Rick and I were running the numbers, it did not make sense to stay. It just didn't make sense. So what does the housing look like in Merida, and what could people expect?
So the housing options are, they're wide and varied. I mean, you got lots of options. I just posted a video last night. I was helping a young lady just flew in from North Carolina.
We saw
I saw that.
Okay.
She was partying. She was having a good time.
She had a wonderful time. So yesterday we went house hunting, looking at houses, and I posted that video last night. And big giant house, with a big massive pool in the back. And I got this on video. You literally walk out her back door, and in her yard there are lemon trees with lemons on them. You just pluck them off the tree. There are guava trees in the back, and there's trees with oranges on them. This is in her backyard.
Right.
Walk out, pull out some oranges, and get to eat. And it's a big massive house that is completely furnished. And the rent on that is $450 a month.
Wow.
Wait. Let's just pause. What is the estimated square footage, or how many beds and baths?
If I had to put, now this particular one was a 2-bedroom because she didn't want an extra room. She was specifically good for a 2-bedroom, but she kind of changed it. So now we're looking for 3. If I had to put an estimate on that size of that house, I would put it at about, because it was huge. I mean, the living room, just from the living room to the front door was just like 40 feet. I would put it at about 2,200 square feet of space.
Oh my.
Livable space.
Yes. Now it's hard to find that in the cities in Portugal, folks. So don't expect that kind of square footage. You can get good prices.
Yeah.
Don't, when you're in European cities.
Yeah, you got a lot of people and you got little space, so they're a lot smaller.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's like Manhattan. Think Manhattan when we're talking about the space. All right, so over 2,000 square feet or so for 400 and what now?
$450 with fresh lemon trees, orange trees, guava trees in the backyard with just an abundance of lemons. So that's one thing she would never have to purchase again are lemons, oranges, and guava fruit.
Right.
So
and anything else she wants to plant back there, probably.
Oh, absolutely. Right? She could walk right out the front door. There's a taco restaurant down the street, some parks, grocery store, probably about a 1-minute walk. And so we actually ended up leaving that house to go look at another house. I couldn't record that one, but that one was a 4-bedroom house with a dipping pool and a rooftop where you can go up there and barbecue on the rooftop and put some balconies and chairs up there and all of that. That was $375 a month.
Wow.
So it was, and those were your average typical homes that local folk were living in. And of course they have brand newer homes at high end upscale as you like. You know, they can go up to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. But we're talking about places like a mansion. When you
Right.
start, you know, if you're spending about $1,000 a month, you got a massive house that's probably the equivalent of $3,500 a month in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My gosh.
And these are good areas. These are safe areas,
yeah.
folks. This
100%.
isn't, you know, don't think, well, it's in Mexico, it can't be that. Is no.
Yeah. I mean, I
It's
let my
not that way at
girls,
all.
my daughters are 13 and 15. I got them bikes. They routinely ride to the mall on their own. They go to the movie theater. They park their bikes, lock them up, walk around the mall, go to the movies. They go to restaurants on their own. They'll hop an Uber into downtown Central, hang out down there, buying their little stuff, and come back on their own. I'm completely comfortable with them walking out and doing their thing together.
And see, it's one thing when you have sons.
Yeah.
To be comfortable with that. But when you have daughters, and I know how my daddy was, and that was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
That was in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Today, you know, it's funny because Trevor Noah did a kind of a gag about that we're just like hovering over our kids in the States, you know, making sure that, you know, you know, because I don't know if we think if more kidnappings happen, or we think more kidnappings happen than actually do, or what. But one thing that I do know is that, you know, I would never feel comfortable having my kids out, especially.
Can't hear. Your audio is gone.
Okay, let's see if we got audio now.
I can hear you.
All right. So yeah, there's no way that I would feel comfortable with girls being by themselves at night in the States, especially without a car.
Yeah, I could, and that's why my girls are so. When I told them we were going back to the States, we was only going back to. I'm like going back to see your grandma. They misunderstood me. They thought we were moving back to the States, and they got upset and disappointed. And they were like, "Why? We love it here. We won't be able to go places on our own. We won't be able to go to the mall. We won't be able to walk and do this because in the States, you know, everything is so spread out. You need a car to get to the mall. You need a car to get to the gas station to go get you some chips. Whereas here, you can just walk out the front door and right around the corner, you're going to get some chips. You don't have to, you know, rely on your mom and dad to drive you down the road and or get chased by some dogs and whatnot. So they thought they were going to lose their independence and they were mad. I'm like, y'all misunderstood. I'm just saying we're going to visit. Well, how long are we going to be there? We don't need to stay there for no month. You know.
So for all of you who think that you have to wait until your kids first of all, my sister's on. Hi, Amani. I love you. All of you who think that you have to wait until your kids graduate, you know, today, this is not a dress rehearsal. Tomorrow is not promised. You know, Cartess's kids are thriving. They're like, no, we don't want to go back. This is home now, right? So Marguerite watches your stuff too. So I wanted to leave that up, Cartess. So let's see. I'm going to try to catch up. We've got our daughter. All of our families is in the house today, and this is not typical. So this is one of our daughters. Hey, Courtney.
And can I piggyback off of what you said about?
Yes, definitely.
You know, not having to wait for your kids to leave. In the last few days, you know, one of my clients that we helped get situated and other friends, they brought their mothers down here who are 70 and 90 years old. You know what I mean? And their mindset was, you know, a lot of folks are waiting till their mom or their dad die. She's like, I'm not waiting. I'm coming down there and I'm going to get my mom down here. And, you know, she got 24-hour help, round the clock help for a mother. She can afford for someone to take care of her mother here in Mexico. Mm-hmm. Whereas back home, it was almost impossible. It cost $10,000 a month for that.
Right.
Here she can do it and still have a life, and her mom has 24-hour care and treatment in her house. You know what I'm saying?
See, Cartess, you know that I'm dealing with that right now. And anyone who's been watching our channel for a while know that, you know, I've got 2 aging parents. I've got a father who has dementia, and the healthcare system in the States wants you to, we were just talking about this last night at karaoke but with the older folks, because they were rapping over there and we were rapping about the healthcare system. And they want you to die in poverty.
Exactly.
They want you to die in poverty. And it's just crazy.
Can we check and make sure everybody else can hear too?
Okay, yes, can everyone hear us? It looks like, let's just make sure. Can't hear you. So Courtney says can't hear. Can you guys hear now? So let us know if you're hearing us, because Cartess, you can hear us fine now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I just loved her attitude.
Yes.
The lady who just flew in. What's her name?
Nikki.
Okay. Thank you, folks. I thought we were back on, and we've got kind of a weird setup here. We're trying to do this lean because we're going to be traveling around, and we got to be able to do this from wherever we are. So we've kind of got a crazy setup, and we got to be real careful we don't bump anything. But yeah, Nikki was just like on fire. And for a minute, we had a plan to move Gloria Vincent to Mexico with us. And get her, you know, kind of ensconced in some of the Black communities there, because there are huge Black communities in Merida, in Lake Chapala, in the Tulum area, as well as PV, Puerto Vallarta, and Mexico City.
Yeah.
There's brothers and sisters of Mexico City, brothers and sisters of Merida, brothers and sisters. We everywhere, right? And so, because I was looking at the numbers, and I was looking at how the women that I saw, especially in Lake Chapala, were just glowing. And I was like, my mama needs that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And we could afford to have someone, you know, because her memory and stuff is kind of going downhill as well. We could afford to have someone, you know, come in, help her out, do the cooking, cleaning, whatever we needed. But, you know, I think I missed that opportunity by about a year, unfortunately. So did Rick sing karaoke?
Yes, I did, Ron.
He did.
So I was asked for an encore. Actually, I really was. I was like, whoa.
I actually think she was trying to hit on him until she realized that I was his wife. Because
I was singing to you.
I know, but you know, when he starts singing "Chocolate Girl" by the Whispers, and everybody over 45, 48 started doing one of these.
Hey, a couple of them young ones were screaming.
Yes, some of the young ones were screaming too. Yes, they were. So, I was like, mine. Mine. So Ron's asking, are there HOA fees or something similar there in Mexico?
No, not on the rentals. The owners pay for that. But what I'm learning, even when you buy a house here, you know, you own the house. There's no property taxes. The only people who pay property taxes are foreigners who buy property, and it's $500 per year. So once you own the house and pay it off, all you are responsible for is $500 a year. I know my mom has a big old giant house, and you know, if she were to pay that off, she probably got to spend about another $13,000 a year on property taxes. Which
wait, where's your mom?
In Georgia, right outside of Cartersville.
And how big is her house?
It's probably about 6,500 square feet.
Okay, it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
But still, that's crazy, because a 6,500 square foot house in Colorado would probably be about $5,000 a year in property taxes.
Wow.
But 78% to 80% of the school districts in Colorado can only afford to go to school 4 days a week.
Dang. Really?
in Colorado. This is the United States, folks.
Goodness.
And I bet you it's not too different in a lot of other states. So if you have low property taxes, they have to get they're taking that money away from something, or you're paying a lot of fees on other stuff.
Absolutely.
Right. There is no getting around it. So they don't have, if they do have HOAs, traditionally the landlords pay. Okay. That's good to know. That is good to know. Sound is good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now let's go over to, we talked a little bit about transportation. Let's talk about healthcare. Because everyone thinks that the United States has the best healthcare system in the whole wide world. Before we went live, folks, we were talking about both Cartess and my husband have a similar situation with their bodies and thyroid thing. And so Rick had it handled 10, 12, 15 years ago in the States. Cartess had it handled in Mexico. I don't even want to talk about the costs, but we're going to talk about the costs. But first, let's talk about the service you receive, because you cannot put a price on your life.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the quality of care and the service you receive. And also, whatever you want to talk about with the healthcare system with your daughter as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, we've had 3 medical emergencies since I've been here. Never had any type of emergencies in the 48 years that I've been in the United States. But for whatever reason, we got sick. And I'll start with my daughter. She just recently had surgery last Saturday. Literally, was it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. Literally woke up cramping over in pain. And ironically, we already had a gynecology appointment scheduled for her to be seen at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. And that was her initial visit, initial consult, which also includes an ultrasound, which is standard with gynecology appointments here. So when we got there, she was like, "Oh, I'm in pain. I need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "No, you just ate some bad meat last night. You and your sister were cooking. Y'all probably ain't cooking all the way. Lay down, drink that water. We'll let you know when we get to the hospital, the doctor look you over." So we got there, and of course, they did the ultrasound. They're like, "Oh my God, she had a cyst inside of her that's about 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters." And I'm like, "A cyst?" They were like, "She needs emergency surgery today, because if it pops, then she's in trouble." And I'm like, and that was at one of the expensive hospitals, one of the hospitals I was there earlier. And so I was like, "Man, I don't know what this is going to cost. I'm scared." I'm like, "You know what? I'm going to go get a second opinion." So a friend of mine by the name of Mo suggested I go to another hospital that's further in the city, tend to be cheaper, not as brand new at the place I was at, but significantly cheaper. So I went there, same thing. We walked in there, they did the ultrasound, looked it over, they were like, "She needs surgery right now." And so I was like, "All right," they're like, "I haven't got no choice." They're like, "You can't fly her back to the States," because that's what I was going to do, because she got insurance there. Right. I'm like, "Nah." So they were like, "You can't do that." And so he was like, "All right, you need to do this today. You need to do this right now." So I went ahead and said, "All right, well, I'll figure out the money situation later." So I got, all right. So they rolled it back. Within 30, 45 minutes of walking in that hospital, they was already in the OR prepping her for surgery. And so they did the surgery, laparoscopic. They gave us an option. They said, "We can cut her. It'll be cheaper, but just for 10,000 pesos more, we can do the laparoscope, which 10,000 pesos is $500 US more."
Okay.
I'm like, "Well, 500, then let's do the scopes." So she stayed overnight. They came in the morning, just wanted to make sure she could eat and stand up and drink and retain everything. She did that. And they were like, "All right, you can go home." And so they were like, "You need to go to admissions and get your bill." And I was like, "Man, I don't want to get that bill. I thought we were going to be here for 3 days, because y'all told me we're going to be here for 3 days. That would give me 3 days to get this money." So I walked up to that front desk, and I was just like, "Man, this ain't gonna be good. And they handed me that bill. It was like 57,000 pesos, which was the equivalent of 2,700 US dollars for emergency surgery.
$2,700. Now, our daughter is a nurse. Courtney, how much would that cost in Illinois? Because I know you ain't getting out of there. 2,700 was when I took my son, and all they did was give him, because he has asthma, give him some inhaler stuff for a little while, put the little pulse off thing on his finger for about an hour and a half. Make sure you breathing good now. Okay, go on, go $2,700.
Exactly.
They didn't.
It was insane. I had to pull out my calculator to make sure I was doing the conversion right. I picked it to somebody else and like, tell me how much this is. I was on the internet. I'm like, them numbers ain't right. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to shut up, pay the money, and get out of here before they figure it out. You know what I mean? And but $2,700. I mean, the doctors, and this was supposed to, so this was not the high-end hospital, but the same doctors that practice at the high-end hospital also practice at this hospital. And so, I mean, they treated us so well. And I told the family, I'm like, no, this is the hospital we're going to be going to moving forward, because the doctors there were so nice. Many of them spoke English, and they were going out of their way. They were like, look, if you can't afford it, I can get on the phone and call other hospitals to find out what it would cost. I don't care if you do it here. I just need the surgery. Surgeries need to be done today. And
would you ever get that in the U.S.? I will call other hospitals and check prices for you.
Oh, no. And I tell you this, one thing about the hospitals here, the doctors here, because the other medical emergency we had with my daughter, she was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia while here. So we were going back and forth to the hospital because we didn't know what was going on. And, the doctors here give you their personal phone numbers, their cell number, WhatsApp number. So at any given time, there's an issue. I can message her doctor or my doctor. And if they're not with a patient, they will reply to me within 15, 20 minutes. I mean, this is really a personal relationship that you have with these doctors. When he found out Haley was in the hospital, he came to the hospital, came to see about her, messaged her to see if she was okay. The quality of care here is night and day, and the same with my surgery. My surgery, I was in the hospital for 7 days because, and been picked up by the ambulance and went to the hospital. They took an x-ray because I couldn't breathe. Every time sometimes me and the wife get in an argument, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like, what's going on? And the other day, cat outside got into my trash can, and I ran outside to scare him out the trash, and I thought I was dying. Y'all call 911, call 911. This is the end. I love y'all. Bye.
You like the drama a little bit, Cartess?
Oh, that was for real. I thought I was gone.
But yeah, I understand. I understand.
I got to the hospital and they did an x-ray and they said your airway has shifted all the way over. The tumor in your thyroid has shifted your airway, and that's why you can't breathe, because it's closing it. And they was like, you need surgery right now. So they kept me, and like I said, they did the x-ray. When they did the surgery, the tumor had wrapped around my vocal cords and caused a little damage. But I was in the hospital for 7 days, and that bill was, I don't know the exact bill, because I know my insurance covered that, so they jacked things up. But they quoted me that it would be between $5,000 to $7,500 for care, and that includes me being in the hospital for the full 7 days. If I wasn't there 7 days, they said it would have been half of that.
See,
insane.
Do you know anyone who's on insulin in Mexico? And
quite a few people.
What the cost is?
I don't know what the cost is.
Okay, we're gonna find that out for you.
I can look into that.
Tracy and Nika, we're gonna find that out, because this is something else that you need to live, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
And so
I will
Courtney
say,
is
I know the
saying,
cost is going to be very cheap because even
right?
if I metformin, when I go buy a bottle, when I was buying it, before my sugar levels are back to normal, so I don't need it. But when I was buying a bottle, I would get a bottle of 30, 60, 90, about 120. I get a bottle of 120 pills of metformin. I mean, it was like $3 for that. So the medicines here are drastically cheap. Even my daughter's medicines, I mean, super cheap. We're talking pennies to the dollar.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Courtney's saying her MRI that she has to get every 6 months is $5,000. So
I can tell you about that because they did an MRI on her, my daughter, $300.
So why are MRIs so expensive in the States?
Scam. I don't think I can.
Because they can be.
Scam.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
One of the people that I was talking to last night, one of the guys that I met and was talking to last night, because some of the medications that he takes, he was telling me, and he quoted, because we were talking about the pricing in the United States. I said, well, that's like $300 and something for a 90-day supply of that. And he's like, no, it's $3.
Exactly.
I was like,
wow. So $3 here.
$3 here.
Yeah.
Wow. And most of that stuff be made by the same manufacturer.
It's all made by the same manufacturer. People. It's just they give it a different name.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. So, Sandra's saying that wouldn't even cover the deductible, right? Like my deductible is $7,000. So I'm insured through Obamacare right now.
Yeah.
And since I'm healthy, I was like, okay, I'll do the deductible because 7,000 is better than 100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And then I'm only paying the $50 a month. But yeah, you said $5,000 to $7,000 for your surgery and all of that. That's the deductible.
In the hospital.
I would have had to pay 100%. That's the deductible.
Exactly.
I just and the other thing that I realized, so when we were there the last time during the pandemic, when you come back to the States, you got to get your negative test. And I think you still do.
I think they changed it. We were talking last night.
Okay.
Craig was saying that they just dropped that.
Okay.
That you don't have to have a negative.
Good. Because I was still like, where am I going? I don't know. And I'll worry about that tomorrow. But one of the things that I thought we were getting special treatment, but now I know is kind of standard is the doctor came to us. We had an appointment. She came to us. She swabbed us in our, Airbnb, put it in the label, blah, 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 blah. And then WhatsApped us our results. And he says, oh yeah, the doctors will come to you. And I thought that was because we were in Hotel Zona, in one of these all-inclusive shishi places. But my understanding is that that's kind of typical in Mexico.
Absolutely. They will come to the house for your COVID test and just even regular care. I got food poisoning one time and the doctor came to the house. And so they make house calls. It's just a routine. If I chose to go to him, it's like $15 if I went to his office. Now they also have, this is another thing that I like about Mexico. Many of the pharmacies here have physicians medical doctors on staff. Yes. And so while I may pay $15 or $20 to go to the doctor, or pay $35 or $40 for them to come in my house, if I go to the pharmacy and see the doctor get checked out, $5.
If it's something simple, right?
Exactly.
Why do you have to? First, you have to go to your primary care physician, and then you have to, ear, nose, throat, and blah blah blah, and they just put you through so many hoops.
So
the one question that we never asked you, and this because you said move abroad and thrive. So why did you decide to leave the United States in the first place? Because when we told folks, yeah, we out, people are like, I would never leave the United States. Why would you ever want to leave the United States?
Well, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 48. And, over the years, I made a ton of money, made a lot of money. And so this is where some people are like, well, if you got all that money, then what happened? Why are you trying to move? I made a lot of money, but the old saying, when you're making a lot of money, not about how much money you make, it's how much you keep. I never saved my money. I blew it. I was living in houses, paying almost $3,000 a month, had brand new Mercedes 600 S-Class Benz, just ridiculous stuff. I was living in those moments and enjoying every minute of it. But, I did not save my money. I ended up going through a phase of depression where the business, I started to neglect the business. I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't focus on it. And with anything that doesn't get attention, it started to go down. So my income over a period of years started to go down. The business model that I had, I had a lot of courses online that I could neglect it for a little while and still get income, but it would just slowly decrease. And after a few years of neglect, it just came to a completely crashing. So I thought it, I got to thinking, I'm like, all right, I got to get my act together. I'm going to be retired, 65 in about 15 years coming up. What can I do to play catch up? Because I have no retirement. I have no savings. My business is almost destroyed and I only have a few dollars coming in. I need to reset and get focused on rebuilding. So what can I do to cut my expenses significantly? And so I was like, well, I could downsize to a smaller house. I could get, and then I was like, wait a minute, we were in Colombia. It was cheaper in Canada. It was cheaper in Colombia. I'm like, well, I can go back to Colombia and live cheaper than we are in the States. And I can take that money, the savings, and start saving, start investing, and spend more time on my business. So that's what prompted me to make that move abroad. I'm like, this can fix my situation. And so when I got here, I started to realize that there was a lot of people out here, like you said. You got Americans and Australians and Canadians, people from all over the world, Europe, that have moved here because for them, their pension, $1,200 a month, $1,300 a month, and they couldn't live on that. And so They were able to find that money can go so much farther here. And so when I got here, I was like, I made the right choice. This was the plan. I can breathe. I can focus on getting my mindset back again. I'm going to together, rebuild my business and save. And, I'm looking at some of these houses out here. I'm like, because I know how I do with money. I'm like, I can, in a year or two, I can buy one of these houses for 40 or 50, 60,000 cash and won't ever have a mortgage again. And no matter what boneheaded move I make, I'll always have a home.
You're not going to make any more boneheaded moves. We've all been there, Cartess. We have all been there. And Lisa, who's in the comments, she says, we lived in Mexico City for 4 years. The difference is the litigiousness of the U.S. I was thinking about that, the kind of insurance that they have to have just to cover themselves from lawsuits, etc. So Lisa is in our FIRE group. And so for those of you who do not know, FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Financial independence, retire early. And so, we follow the Paula Pant school of you can afford anything, but you can't afford everything.
Like that.
So choose, right? We choose to spend our money traveling and being in Portugal and being in Mexico and anywhere else we want to go, as opposed to the twin Teslas that we were looking at right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know.
But the Teslas, I'm not going to speak for my husband. I don't speak for me. I'm just going to be real transparent. The Tesla was not for me. The Tesla was for everyone else to be impressed by me. Real talk.
Absolutely.
I don't care about no car. I do not care. I drive at home in Denver. Well, that's not home anymore because we're houseless, but there's still a car there that has my name on it.
Yeah.
That is a 2008 Subaru.
Wow.
Has been paid for 5-6 years now.
Mhm.
And still, so we made the right moves and still looking at them damn twin Teslas.
I know the feeling.
Right? So, we definitely had to get serious. It's like, okay, so we had stopped spending, we were spending $900,000 a month on food and this and that, but we had to get real serious, and the Teslas had to go away. Like, really? Now,
Yeah.
I'm, like I said, I'm not speaking for my husband because, he's a very different person than I am, but didn't nobody care what I drove, and they wouldn't see it anyway because 90% of the time it's going to be parked somewhere.
Absolutely. It's all in our mind. I mean, we got to fight.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we blame some outside influence, but it's in us, that enemy within, that we got to fight those thoughts, our own beliefs. We're fighting against ourselves.
Exactly. And so once you decide what your goal is and what your priority was, like for you to make sure that your family is thriving, that you could take a breath and not, you have to work so hard in the States to maintain just a decent lifestyle, So I know you were hustling because, Rick was working sometimes 70 hours a week. I was working 70 hours a week. And I mean, I could go and he would leave before I wake up and then come home after I was asleep. Did not get a penny more for all those extra hours. Well, a couple pennies.
Yeah.
But just a couple.
They never pay you your worth. So.
They never pay you your worth. So we've got a double-edged sword. We got to fight spending too much and trying to keep up with the Joneses. I literally wrote the Joneses a physical letter, breaking up with them, telling them they no longer have control over my life. I don't care what they do. They do you, boo. But over here, we are going to watch our spending and make sure that we are growing the delta in between how much we bringing in and how much we're spending, because it was just nonsense. Right?
Exactly.
You wanted the 2-seater Benz?
Oh, I wanted one of those all my life, pretty much. But there's a reason I don't have one. So and I could care less about it.
Right now, it's like I don't want a car. Period.
No,
like if we have to have our own transportations, we're thinking about Vespas. So, fun fact: our dog was on anti-anxiety meds, Paxil. We use the exact same pharmacy for humans. Pharmacy delivery is amazing. 10% of the cost of what it is in the US. So that must have been in Mexico. And then, right? Courtney's saying, what about pets? I have 2 fur babies and I can't begin to even think about parting. I know.
You can take your pets.
Because our ring is off at home and I want to see my dog. I want to see my dog in the backyard. And I don't know if he's young enough to travel with us to make the move. We're going to see when we get back and check with the vet. But so do you know folks who've moved to Mexico with pets?
My friend Mo, she brought 10 dogs down here with her. She loves dogs. She's animal rescue. Her whole mission is about rescue. She got 10 dogs living in her house. And her house is $275 a month with a pool that's about 40 feet long and 20 feet wide, and all 10 of them dogs be running around the yard and jumping in the pool with her. People bring their pets out here with them all the time. It's not a big. It doesn't seem to be a complicated issue.
No, as a matter of fact, even pit bulls I think are allowed in Mexico. But you do need to go ahead and get, if I remember correctly, get them properly licensed and all of that.
Have them checked out.
Yeah. And then about cars in Mexico, because who was it? She is on the Loose did this interview with Danny, who's Danny with No Contact. That's her YouTube channel. So Danny moved to Mexico the first time, kind of in a janky way, as she says, and she drove down because she's got her pit bull. And she didn't want him going under the carriage in the airplane. And so everything was good. Well, kind of. But here's the thing that we did not know. So she got into an accident in her car. It was not her fault. She was stopped. Somebody ran into her. When the cops showed up, everybody went to jail.
Wow.
Everybody went to jail because it was a weekend and they couldn't get into contact with or it was late Friday evening. And they couldn't get in contact with the insurance company to prove that everybody was insured. So everybody went to jail, the person who did it and her, for the whole weekend. And if you don't know about Mexican jails, do they feed you in jail? Do you get a cot in 3 squares?
You get a concrete floor or a concrete slab of a cot and sleep on that concrete with no pillow, no sheets, no blankets. You get a sandwich in the morning, just a slice of bread and a piece of bologna, and for breakfast, and then at nighttime around 9, 10, you get another sandwich with a piece of bologna and maybe cheese. That's it. And water. Nothing else.
And we can talk about your experience in a second, because see, I have been following Cartess for a very long time, and so we're just thrilled that you agreed to be on our little YouTube channel, because his YouTube channel is thriving just like he is. So for Danny, she's like, the families would come and bring food.
Yeah.
For the folks who are in jail, but she was there as a single woman by herself.
Ouch.
And hadn't even gotten to Lake Chapala or something. The people who knew she was coming, there was a miscommunication. They did not know where she was, etc. So she was in jail alone. Now, here's the deal. The chief of police or whatever of Lake Chapala brought her food that his wife cooked, because he knew that she would not have anybody bringing her food. There was another lady in the cell with her, and her family came and brought her food and shared some of their food with Danny as well. And so that's what happens in Mexico jails. I'm not driving. Because if somebody hits me, I got to go to jail. So Cartess, I know you talked about your little stint in a Mexico jail. Do you want to share?
Yeah, sure. And I can attest that I think I know there's a rule of some sort, because I stayed in jail for 2 days. I think the general rule of thumb is, regardless of what you do or regardless of whose fault it is, if you go to jail, you're there for 48 hours until they get it figured out. And so that's exactly what happened to me. But anyhow, I was going to visit somebody else, another expat, going to their house, and they sent me the location via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the way people tend to communicate, particularly in these Latin American countries. It's the primary way of communication. Okay. So they sent me that location, and I had a car. I had a rental car at the time, so that's why I had to get the location and use GPS to get there. They said, when you get here, just open the black gate and come knock on our door, and we'll let you in. So I get to the house, or what I thought was the house, and I open up the gate with a black gate. The number was on the wall, the house number, so I figured that was the place to go. Open up the gate, go in, knock on the door. Some little girl, probably about 10 years old, was asking who it was. And in that moment, I realized I'm at the wrong place. Then she sounded like she was scared. So I could hear it in her voice. I said, Lo siento, I'm sorry, I was at the wrong house. And I left, shut the gate, got the correct place. And they were like, oh, you're at the wrong house, we're next door. So they came to the gate and let me in, and I went in. So I was in that house for about an hour and a half. Came outside, and there were policemen all up and down the street. And I'm like, what the heck going on out here? And so I hear somebody pointing at me, and I'm assuming they were saying, that's him. And I'm looking around like,
Who?
Who's him? I'm like, oh, they talking about me. And so the police guy walked over there and he was like, did you go in this gate? And I was like, yeah. I went in, I knocked on the door, and it was the wrong house. So I left and went to this house where y'all just saw me come out of. And he was like, okay, his English wasn't that strong, so they brought another person over there whose English was better. And he was like, why were you over there? And so I showed him the address. I said, I was coming to this location to visit my friends. And at that point, I'm using Translate app. And I said, here's the address, and this is the house number. And I pointed to the number on the wall because both of these houses were in between each other, and the number was in the middle. But I assumed it was the one on the right. So when I showed him that, he was like, okay.
Entiendo,
I can see that you made that. I can see how you made that mistake. So he went over there to the owner of the house. At this point, she's screaming and yelling, being over dramatic, in my opinion. And I mean, just screaming and wailing all the time. Like, you wasn't doing that wailing before I came out that door. I didn't hear nobody wailing. So she was wailing, and her husband trying to calm her down. And so the police go over there trying to calm her down to explain what happened. So he come back and he like, all right, you know, in Mexico, if you go to somebody's gate, it's considered trespassing and it's illegal. He said, I'm trying to talk this lady down. So she wants to press charges. She insists on you being charged for trespassing, but give us a few minutes, we'll try and talk her down. So they stayed out there. By that point, more police officers came.
What about the people that you did go to see? Did they come out of the house?
Oh yeah, they came out. They was out there too. And they even went and talked to the lady. They talked to the lady.
Yeah. That's her neighbors, right?
Yeah, they were. I get the impression they didn't like each other the way they was carrying on. And
okay.
Yeah, so they went and talked. They tried to talk to him, but they weren't hearing them. As a matter of fact, when they were trying to talk to him and explain to him, the policeman asked him, he said, all right, they don't want to talk. So just back away, just go back over here. So they tried to explain, the police tried to explain. And so at this point, the police have been trying to explain to her for 3 hours because they came and told me, we don't want to take you to jail and we ain't trying to take you to jail. So we trying to talk her down. So at that point, one of the guys came over and was like, she's insistent. He said, maybe you can get somebody to come get your car. If you need to, you know, if you're here with your family and they need money, call them so they can come get your credit cards and all of that stuff. So I called a friend of mine, David. He came, got my wallet and money and debit cards so he can give it to the wife. And you know, so at that point, you know, they was like, and he tried to explain to him, hey, this guy's a foreigner. He doesn't know what he's doing. He didn't know. You can see the instructions in here saying, open the gate, come knock on the door. And so at that point, the big guy came. He was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Ross. We got to take you in to jail. And I was like, whoa, by the way, since you and the car are one and the same, it's part of the investigation. So we have to take the car too. So they impounded the car, hauled me off to jail for 2 nights.
Oh no! So then you had to pay to get it out.
Oh yeah, I had a rental, and that was a whole nother nightmare. It took almost 2 weeks for them folks to get their car back, and because it's just a paperwork and nonsense. Everything is paperwork in Mexico. But when they took me to jail, you know, I got a chance. I tried to call my wife and explained to her what was going on. And so she was mad. What are you doing? I know you're out there messing around with them wenches, women. I'm like, huh? I'm like, what? Why? Just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth.
Oh
no. And I'm like, look, woman, you know what? I'm going to jail. I don't got time for this nonsense. I'm gonna have me some peace for 2 days. I'll see you in 2 days. Bye. Click on the phone up and went on off the jail.
Did you think you were getting 3 hots in a cot?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was gonna get fed and taken care of, but man, but I will tell you, the police officers there at the jail, they were very nice. When I got there, it was late at night. I didn't have any food. Some of the guys had extra food, and they shared their food with me as well. The same thing. Um, my friend Mo, very very good friend. She found out I was in jail. She called Kim, was like, "Look, you gotta take him food, because they're gonna give them the bare minimum in the cell. So, but families can bring food, and so she ended up taking some food up there, the bags of food, and so at that point, everybody looking at my cell because I had the most food, and so of course I shared that out with everybody that was in front of me, to the side of me, and because they shared their stuff with me as well. But they were kind. Everybody in there was kind. The people were kind. The guy that was on my left had got picked up for trafficking cocaine. He had a big, massive amount of cocaine, and he kind of taught me the ropes. He was the only guy who spoke some English, so we was able to talk. And so he gave me some pointers, and told me what was going to happen, and he just kind of explained the process. But it was horrible. I mean, we slept on concrete floors, no sheets, no blankets, no pillows, and very little food to eat unless somebody brought it to you. And but overall, I got the rest that I needed for those 2 days. I ain't have to have nobody all up in my ear for 2 days.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. And so you and Danny both have laughed about it.
That's all you can do.
Well, I think this speaks to something bigger. Yeah, no one wants to go to jail.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand the laws, is it really fair? It doesn't really matter. It's their country. They're going to do what they're going to do, right? Yeah. And I don't know if this is American passport privilege that y'all were experiencing. I don't know. But one thing that I do know is the stories are similar in relationship to how you were treated by the people in power.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's something to be said, like, stuff happens, misunderstandings happen. And so why should you be traumatized? As, Tracy's saying, I think I have PTSD from the gunshots, right? Like, she's in our Beyond the Bling program, and which, we had our session yesterday, and she was saying, because I haven't been watching the news, that every day or something, there have been mass shootings in the States, and so when you think about that, and you think about the relationship folks usually have with police, they don't come out, misunderstanding or not, laughing. Yeah. They usually come out pissed off, chip on their shoulder, and everything else, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Tiffany, yay! Good. It is good to see people doing the damn thing, right?
That's what it is, doing the damn thing.
Doing the damn thing. That's
so we have been talking for about an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to look through if you've got questions, because we're going to talk about food. So we talked about healthcare, we talked about housing, we talked about transportation. And the one thing we didn't talk about with transportation, Cartess, is the bus system city to city. When you take those, what we would consider a chartered bus, right? In the States, Greyhound is janky, or whatever it is now. I don't know if Greyhound still exists. But in Mexico, traveling by bus between cities is a whole different experience. Have you had the opportunity to do that?
I have not. However, I've seen the buses, and I talk to people almost every day who take those buses between here to Cancun, here to Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Mexico City even. And those are big luxury buses with TVs, air conditioning, bathrooms in the back, internet on the bus, Wi-Fi, the complete luxury. I think from here to Cancun, it's like $20 to catch the bus, or ride that luxury. So what I hear is it's ultra comfortable. And when I see the buses, they are massive. They look beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I have heard. And so let's get to food costs before we go to our last bit of questions. Are you taking a picture of yourself on screen?
Taking the whole screenshot. Yeah, we got all it.
And we can send that to you too.
Yeah, for me, everything is
So,
marketing.
because we've got quite a few people watching. If you like this content, folks, we are trying to bring it to you. Please ask the questions. Please like. Please subscribe. Next week, we're going to be talking to a bunch of expats, Black expats here in Portugal. We've got some set up, some we still trying to get, and they're even having a Juneteenth thing here next Sunday.
Yeah,
Wow.
Juneteenth.
So we're going to a Juneteenth picnic next Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So do you guys, before we get to food, do you guys do any of the American holidays there with the brothers and sisters of Merida or anything?
Yeah, at any given time, there's generally somebody hosting some type of festivity based on whatever holiday's going on. They do that all the time. So, I always suggest people join the different Facebook groups in the town that they want to visit, and generally keep up to date with events and parties or stuff that's going on in the city.
You don't want to be in jail in Mexico, but if you have to be in jail, at least you are not going to be treated like a criminal before they prove you're a criminal.
Exactly.
So yes, so Lisa says it's much easier to get pets into Mexico. And here in Portugal, I do know you have to have a dog passport or a cat passport, pet passport or whatever. A friend of ours who's going to be on next week, she just got residency last week. So she's only been here for about a month or two this time. And she brought her cat. So
wow.
Yeah, she brought her cat, and there are a ton of cats here. There are a ton of cats. I'm not worried about mice. I'm not worried about mice because these cats, they handle their business. Rashad's back. Yay. Hey, Rashad. Would it have been more appropriate to have an expat gap from the country of which you are currently visiting? Rashad is one of our, he loves to give us suggestions. So let me tell you how this goes when you only have we're trying to get to 500. We are trying to get to 500 subscribers. But when you only have 300 to 400 subscribers and you're the little dog on the block and you've been reaching out to folks and they get back to you, as Cartess got back to us, because we have folks that we've been reaching out to who've gotten back to us and said, we know we owe you a call. Cartess actually did the call, right? And said he was available. And I was thankful. And I said, thank you. Yes, whenever you are available, let's have you on, because this is good information and Mexico is next on our list. So we love you, Rashad. And definitely read his comments from a couple of videos ago, because he gives some very good information about finances. Auntie Trade knows that there was a lot more to the story. He did give the abbreviated version, and I don't know if you're talking about Danny or if you're talking about Cartess's video, but yes, I watched the video too because I'm addicted, and Cartess is part of my binge. So Move Abroad and Thrive is part of my binge. So I watched the whole thing. I do know that there's a little bit more to it, but you know what? You can go over to Move Abroad and Thrive and see the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about food costs in Mexico, because when I was in LA, a thing of bacon was almost $10. One package of bacon. And I wasn't trying to buy the thick cut special, bougie brand.
Yeah.
This was the Kroger brand.
Wow.
Or something close to it, like Bar S or whatever. $10 for some bacon? So how are the food costs there in Mexico?
Food costs here are significantly less, particularly when you're dealing with produce, poultry and meats and fish and stuff like that. When you start buying American brand stuff here, you're going to pay a lot more. Just to give an example, so we shop at the market. So each of these neighborhoods will have their own market where you can go buy fresh produce and meats. So the other day, about a couple of weeks ago, I got like 15 quarter thighs, and they're really, really big. 15 quarter thighs, 4 pounds of chicken wings, probably about 2 pounds of chicken breasts, and I paid like $18 for
Oh
all of that.
my.
Wow.
And these
See?
thing about it, the meat, they generally slaughter them that morning.
Right.
So it's super fresh.
Super
When you
fresh.
see it, you can see the freshness just in the meat, particularly the chicken. And the same with the beef ribs. I can go out there and get them big thing of ribs for super, super, super cheap. And fruits and vegetables especially are even cheaper. I mean, you're getting fresher foods with less GMOs, significantly less. A lot of stuff you don't have it. Somebody said GMO is illegal. I don't know if that's true or not, but the overwhelming majority of stuff is significantly cheaper and the quality better. My daughter's skin, just when we moved here, she has acne issues. Her skin just started to clear up without having to go see a dermatologist. And that just kind of reinforced to me that
Right.
stuff we're eating in the foods in the States, they don't have it here.
Yeah. Yeah. We have found that too. And fun fact, I believe, so one of the cool things about, I saw this in Mexico, but I see it more here, and it'll be interesting when we go back. On this street, there are probably 4 little mom and pop markets
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
fresh produce
With
in
fresh
front.
produce. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have the chain grocery stores as well. So Pingo Doce is the one that's closest to us. There's Continente, and then there's one other that I can't think of right now. And I believe that the produce at the chain store is more expensive than the mom and pop. So
Absolutely.
I will be, and they bring that in every day to the mom and pops. It get, from the the farm to the mom and pop, right? And it gets out, and they put it out there every day. So it doesn't stay there overnight, which is just interesting. And it's so fresh.
Yes.
It's so fresh and so right that if you you got to buy it every day, every other day or so.
Yes.
Because it's going to go bad, because they're not shipping it in green and all of that.
Yeah.
The other thing is you're not going to find, even in the chain grocery store, well, at least the Pingo Doce over here, a lot of out of season fruit. You can buy blueberries year round in Colorado. Now in season, they come down to, to the price they should be.
Yes.
But if you want to pay $10 for a little container at Costco of blueberries, you can in the off season. God only knows where they've flown in from. But here, if it's not in season, it ain't out. I don't see it.
Wow.
Is it like that in Mexico that,
yes, it's pretty much the same. I've been looking around for, what was that? I can't remember the name of the fruit, but it's out of season. And it's hard to find versus in season. There's an abundance of it. And but yeah, like you said, stay out of those chain stores. Even just the local chain stores. Go to the market. You'll cut your bill almost by half by going to the market. And have better quality food, I think.
Yep, definitely. And those small butchers, they still exist here. Every 2 blocks. There's a tienda with meats and fruits and your basics in there. And I just love it because you just walk, and you never have to worry about filling up your refrigerator or anything like that. So we are coming to the end here. And now, speaking of Danny's story, not Cartess's. Yes, both stories have more information to it. Yes. And drinking water. So we do need to talk about the drinking water in Mexico, because as people in the States, we've talked about that. I don't drink the water in the States. I didn't drink the water when we lived in LA. Didn't drink the water when we lived in Denver. I bought bottled water, or we had the filters.
Yeah.
So how is it in Mexico?
It's the same. Now, Medellin, you can drink the water out of the tap. Here, they recommend drinking water, bottled water. However, a lot of people, ironically, do drink the bottled water, the regular tap water here. It is not so much that the water quality is bad, particularly in this region. There's a lot of excessive minerals in the water to the point where, I mean, it's excessive. So if you drink it, you run the risk of, I guess, gallstones or kidney stones.
I see.
Good people do drink it. We do drink bottled water. We have water delivered to the house as well. It's so cheap here. But yeah, I know even in the showers, the shower heads need to be cleaned on a regular basis because of
the minerals
from the
Yep.
water. So
Yep.
you see it, and it's like, okay, not good. Probably not a good idea to drink it because of that.
And when we were there, we brushed our teeth with it and stuff like that. No problem.
Exactly. Same thing. No problem.
Yeah. But bottled water. So how do you help folks, Cartess? What do you do? How do you help folks? And all of the information to get in touch with Cartess Ross is in the description. If you are watching from the future, hi, say hello in the chat, and YouTube will let us know, and make a comment, ask questions, and we'll try to answer. So how do you help folks?
So primarily, this more or less just started out as a mission just to kind of help educate people with other alternatives and other options to improve their finances, be not so much as stressed as you are, frustrated and overworked, and just giving more options to improving the quality of their lives. And you don't have to stay where you were born. It has started to transition to now where people who are leaving the country for the first time are asking for a little bit more hand holding and help and guidance. So for people that come here, we help them find a place to live, show them around the different neighborhoods and the areas, and just kind of let's be a local resource to them.
I love it.
We also have a course on our website where we talk about all the basic stuff you need to move abroad. And the biggest thing that we teach really is having a plan and having some goals. Because when you move abroad, and this is the side that a lot of people tend not to talk about, it's easy to get frustrated and overwhelmed. Yes. And the first thing you want to do is go home when the tough gets going. But sometimes by having that plan and knowing what your goals are, it reminds you why you're here. And for us, my thing is need to cut my expenses drastically, build my savings so I can be ready for retirement and buy a house. So when I got frustrated in the beginning and overwhelmed, that it was like, okay, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. And so that's our main goal, is to help people figure out their plan and understand their why and know it like the back of their hand. Because people come here without any goals, and 2-3 months later, they don't say bye. You just know that they gone. They gone.
And the other thing is you got to make sure that you've got a nest egg a little bit. So, okay, first of all, Cartess, it's not going to take you 15 years to retire.
Good.
We will see to that.
Awesome.
If we can do it in 3 years, other folks can do it in three years, right? But the thing about it is like for most Americans, the thought of moving abroad is just some pipe dream, maybe one day, right? And so when you get to the reality of it, then it seems really scary. Like when you say, okay, I really want to do this.
Well, a lot of people, what they do is they think about moving abroad and Mexico, Portugal, France, wherever. And a lot of times they don't really understand. It's not a vacation.
Yes, exactly.
You can't move. You can't leave and be there in a foreign country in a vacation mode. Because vacation, everything is taken care of for you. You're staying at a hotel. You're staying at an Airbnb. It's not everyday life that you're going to deal with. But you go somewhere, you got to figure out, what am I going to do every day?
Absolutely.
Can I live here?
Can I live here? Can I deal with the people? Can I deal with the the uncomfortable. I mean, you know, walking in a store, yeah, they're grocery stores, but you look at stuff and you kind of know what they are.
Yeah.
But you walk in a Portuguese store or a store in Europe and look for milk, it's not in the refrigerator section.
Not in Mexico either.
It's in a box on a shelf.
On the shelf.
And you're like, okay, why am I taking a box off the shelf for milk? Isn't it going bad?
Exactly.
And then it
The
doesn't
eggs?
say what you are expecting to see.
Yes.
You know, so you got to figure out, okay, what am I getting? What kind of coffee am I getting? Because you might not see Starbucks.
Exactly.
Or you might not see
Folgers.
Folgers. It's something totally different. And there's all kind of it. And it's like, okay, so you got to deal with that.
I had to learn how to work the washing machine.
Yeah, that was interesting. We did a video on it.
Right. We'll be putting out a little short on trying to figure out the washing machine. And the other thing that I noticed, like, so they have peanut butter here. They have Skippy.
Uh-huh.
And then they have their own brand. And then they have the store brand and then some other people's brands. The Skippy for a little bitty jar was like $5.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But you can get their brand for $2 and something. And guess what? It doesn't have all the sugar and the stuff you can't pronounce in it.
Peanuts.
And, you know, Google Translate and leite is milk and this and that. And sim, I know that's without. So without lactose. Okay, got it. Oh my gosh. So I'm in the store we're trying to replace the toilet. So the toilet has, you know, the little fresheners in it.
The little cleanser things that you put down in it. It shoots the blue
stuff. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So, little balls. That word can get problematic in other languages. If you've studied another language, you know that. And so we're trying to find that. And then I'm trying to figure out which one is the laundry detergent versus bleach.
Wow.
Versus the fabric softener. And am I getting connection? So we got connection, and I'm trying to communicate with the lady in the tienda. And so, how do you describe? I said, so para toilette. And it's a little bit, she understood, even though I'm doing the Spanish. And I said, I'm sorry, I know I'm speaking Spanish. And she understood that toilette is the same. And now I'm saying little purple balls. Para lavar, for cleaning. She got it. She pointed to it. I'm like, yes, success, right? We figured it out. But you've got to have patience with yourself, patience with the situation. And, you know, and sometimes folks just need their hand held.
Oh, yeah.
You virtually held my hand and some other YouTubers in educating me on what to expect and where to have patience and all of these things that would be different. And so, you know, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. And anyone who wants Cartess's help, you know, to like, we're hiring somebody to do the visa process in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta. If Cartess would have been in Puerto Vallarta, we would have hired him, right? Like, it makes sense if it makes your life easier to ask for help. Do the shortcut, and you don't have to be frustrated because we've already done the frustration for you.
Absolutely. I mean,
right?
You know, it makes a difference. I know sometimes people, you know, you'll get the comments where, well, I don't need to pay anybody. I can get all this stuff on free for YouTube. And I listen to them sometimes, and it's like, you know, like you said, get the shortcut. It's going to make your life so much easier. Why listen to 20 different people and who tell you 20 different ways to do it? You know, and for me, my clients that come when they call and they need some help or they get stuck on something, I'm going to them because we already got a relationship. From that initial transaction. We have a relationship, a personal relationship, because everybody who come to town, they say, hey, can we meet up? And I'm like, I'll go broke trying to go out to dinner with everybody every day who want to meet. So I give my time to those who've invested, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's so much bigger than that. I don't want to get to a new place and try and figure it all out by myself. I can, but why? I rather shortcut that, make my life so much easier so I can focus on other things.
Oh my gosh. So there are people walking right by. I have known Stuart Heising since I was 10 years old. So you must have found us on Facebook, Stuart. Hey. We grew up in San Diego, right next to Mexico. That's why, Mexico is like a second home. And yes, they are in Merida. So Cartess and his family are in Merida, and Merida, Mexico. And we've got it. This is the thing. So keeping an open mind, it is 10 o'clock here. It is Sunday. And you probably can hear kids and all of that in the background.
Yeah, running up and down the street.
At 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Things they open later. The coffee shops don't open until 8:30. Ain't nobody trying to rush to work. Right? I mean, I'm telling you. Tracy said, if you live in the States, you probably have PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And when you leave the States, you realize that you do, and how everything subsides from you. You start relaxing more.
Yeah.
You just start noticing more. You walk in the store, people aren't watching you. They could care less what you do. They're not looking at you, watching what you're doing and stuff like that.
Following you around the store.
But you have PTSD. You're walking through the store. It's like, okay, should I keep moving? Can I stand here? Because I know somebody's watching me. If I don't want to look suspicious. That kind of stuff crossed my mind. And then I said, I'm in Portugal. They're not paying attention to me. I'm not here they know I'm not here trying to rip them off. They got other things they got to take care of.
Right?
Absolutely.
So blood pressure goes down, blood sugar goes down, weight goes down because you're walking more, you're eating fresher foods, your body is absorbing it. I mean, move abroad and thrive.
Yeah.
Move abroad and thrive. So Auntie Trace says, can you answer the question above before we, yes, I'm not a bug person. I hope it's this one, Auntie Trey. I'm not, me too. Look, one of the things that I loved about Denver at 5,820 feet, which is a mile high, is the lack of bugs. It is like in California, you have to keep everything in the refrigerator or you'll get not maggots, but like those little weevil things in your grains, in your cereal, in your rice, etc. And then if you leave one crumb out on the counter, here comes some ants. None of that in Denver. And I got spoiled. I really did get spoiled. So any issues in Mexico or Portugal with bugs? I heard it was an issue with rats in Lisbon a few weeks ago. As many cats that are here, I'm surprised by that. I have not seen any rodents since we've been here. We've been out at night. As a matter of fact, last night we were in the old part of Lisbon, the historic part, and at 2:30 in the morning, too late for this old lady, but having a ball. And I'm that peripheral vision, even with mosquitoes, because they love me, and nothing. I'm always looking for not just rodents, but our little roach friends. And I've been pleasantly surprised. Nothing here. And if you look, because there's still graffiti. This is Lisbon area. Graffiti means rats and roaches, but not here.
Mm-mm.
It just doesn't. And so there might have been a rat problem in parts of Lisbon, just like New York, but I have not seen any rodents, none whatsoever. What's it like in Mexico?
Well, I know in this particular region that we're in, because we're in the tropical region, so there's several beaches close by, and so we do have bugs. I would say no more bugs than usual, just
Right.
different types of bugs. For example, tarantulas. We have tarantulas here, and I had never seen one in my whole life when I walked outside.
Wow, really?
How big are they?
Told me they were like, "Daddy, there's a spider outside."
Go get it.
I ran back in the house. And was like, man, what the heck was that? That tarantula looked like a full-size sedan in my driveway, and so I was terrified. But and I've only seen 2 other ones since then. But in that particular house, I happened to live in an area where there was a bunch of trees and woods and shrubberies behind me, whereas now I don't have that. So I haven't seen one since. But no more bugs than usual. Just different types of bugs, like you said earlier. If we leave any food on the table or drop crumbs on the ground, the ants are coming. I think the only thing that really beneficial about living here is that now our house is even more cleaner than usual. So to keep those ants out the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. If you don't like bugs, Mexico City is high up as well. Actually higher than the Mile High City. And anywhere where you have high elevation, you have less bugs.
Yeah.
You have less flies and everything else. So if you're not a bug person, you might want to check out Mexico City or any place that's high altitude. So, but yeah, I haven't seen roaches or anything. Even downtown Denver, I'd see critters at night. I have not seen them here.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got somebody who wants us to come across the river tonight because the parade don't end till 4 a.m. But we ain't going. We love you, Twana, but we tired. We tired. We did too much karaoke. So we are going to let you go because it has almost been 2 hours.
Wow, that went by quick.
Didn't it?
It
did. Thank you so much, Cartess. We appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow because we're going to be interviewed by Move Abroad and Cartess Ross. So you'll see our interview. But yeah, we are going to wrap it up here. And now that's news we can use. Halisi, elevation matters. Yes. Would not have known that had I not lived in Denver.
Wow.
Now, with altitude sickness, I didn't get altitude sickness when I moved to Denver because I'm a skier, is what I believe. Water is the key. So
yeah, you got to drink a lot of
water.
A
week before you go to a high altitude place, start very hydrating yourself. Hydrate yourself a lot, okay? Because it is the deficiency of oxygen and the hydration that gives you that altitude sickness. It usually goes away within 2 to 3 days for your average person, but triple your hydration before and while you're there. And that should help a lot. And if you don't have any other health issues going on, should clear it out. So that's not a bug. Tarantula is tarantula.
I got tarantulas in California.
Yeah, they do have. I don't
Not
do
as
spiders.
big as the ones in Mexico.
I don't do spiders. I remember sleeping on the couch for a week because I saw a spider climbing up my bedspread when I was a kid.
Spiders never bothered me. Snakes, yes. Spiders, no.
Right? So you're welcome, Courtney, and we will see you later. However, please subscribe if you have not yet done that. We go live every Sunday at 1:30 Mountain Time, 3:30 Eastern Time. Next week we'll be on with some Portuguese expats, some American expats in Portugal.
They've been living here for a couple of years, and
they're Portuguese now.
They're Portuguese and very, very good people, very good to know.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable on different things. So we just like the conversation we had with Cartess. Thank you so much. We will have with them, and it'll be some good conversation, good information. So now where if you want to leave and go somewhere else, you can do it. So the saying is this: Just do the damn thing.
and
And that's what we're doing. We're
And-
doing the damn thing.
have a plan.
And have a plan.
Have a plan. Get our Ready to Retire toolkit. I put the link there. It's also in the description, as well as Cartess's information. Yay!
Thank y'all so much.
We
Thank
will
you.
see you all next week, and we'll see you on Move Abroad and Thrive. And until next week, see ya.
See ya.
Yes.
Stay around, Cartess.